Hello.
I'm Will. I'm Gigi. I'm Max.
I'm Sean.
And we're 108.5 The Greek Hub.
Hello, I am Master Sean Wu, and I'm your broadcaster on the Greek Hub every weekend from 8 to 5. Today, the hot topic of the Hellenistic period has come up. The Hellenistic period is a fascinating period in which Alexander the Great had managed to conquer all of the known world. Also from the Hellenistic period emerged three philosophers, Plato, Aristotle, and Socrates. These great and wide-known philosophers will be joining us this weekend. But first, let me introduce you to this wonderful period. The Hellenistic period was a period where many new and wonderful ideas were found. For example, they have founded all of the simple machines that we still use today, like the pulley, screw, and the lever. And that is not just the simple machines. They also advanced in astronomy. For example, they have not just managed to find out that Earth is not in the center of the solar system, but our sun is. Also that the moon reflects off the sunlight, and that is how we see the moon at nighttime. They also find out that the moon is distance from the Earth and the discovery of the position of the equinox. They also made the sundials. They also found ways to tell time by where the sun is located, and that led to the invention of the sundials. These are just two small fields where they work on to discover even more about our world. Now let's go back to Earth. They have managed to find out that dolphins breathe air in the holes at the top of their bodies. They also managed to find out more about our bodies. They found the vials of heart distinguish between motor and sensory nerves, and taught the ultimate branches of the arteries and veins are connected. Also, they were the first to reject absolutely the human theory of disease and to condemn exercise, bloodletting as the method of cure. Also, they have discovered the significance of the pulse and its use in the diagnosis of illness, and the discovery that the arteries contain blood alone, not a mixture of blood and air, as Aristotle had taught, and that the function is to carry blood from the heart to all the parts of the bodies. The value of the last discovery is laying the basis for the knowledge of the circulation of the blood, which can hardly be overestimated. Now back to the mechanics. Say you want to go somewhere very far away. You don't want to spend money on a plane. So what do you take? A train. Well, the Greeks made it possible with their invention of the steam engine. But thanks to the Greeks, you can go far away without spending so much money used if you choose to go on a plane instead of a train, which will cost less. Also, say you're inside your home and you like to check the temperature, and you don't have a phone. What will you use? A thermometer. These will measure the temperature for you so you know what the appropriate clothing is wear at what temperature. These are just countless items that were invented and discovered in the Hellenistic period. But that's it for me. Now we are now to Will Broadman, who was interviewing Alexander the Great.
Hello, folks. I'm Will Broadbent, joined here with Alexander the Great for a truly special interview. So, Alex, how does it feel to rule almost the entire world?
Well, you know, Will, I feel like I have a lot of responsibility on my hands. And if something happened to my people, I would feel responsible.
Well, I think a lot of people would feel the same way if they were in your sandals. When you were a young boy, how did people treat you?
When I was young, well, first of all, I was lucky to be born prince in the year 356. Getting back to when I was young, a lot of people in Macedonia thought that I was destined to conquer Persia, so they treated me well. Also, since my dad was the king, I got to learn a lot of things and start military training as soon as possible.
Since you mentioned your dad, Philip, what were some of your favorite things about him?
I really liked how he was kind to me, and that he was kind to his people. And when we attacked Greece, he had the best battle strategies, which helped us win, and helped me learn from my latest conquest.
I know it's hard to talk about your dad, but if you want to, would you like to tell me about your day, the day your dad died?
Yeah, it's okay, I'll talk. On that day in 336, my sister Cleopatra's wedding, one of his guards ran over to him and stabbed him. It was by far the saddest day of my life, but also one of my most moving days also, because on that day, I became the king.
Can you tell me how you felt when you became the king of Macedonia?
Well, after my father's assassination, I was very sad for a bit of time. But when I got over it, though, I felt like I had great responsibility, and that I would avenge my father by taking over Persia.
Could you tell me why you made Babylon the capital of your empire? There were so many good choices as well.
Well, it was hard to pick at first. There's so many beautiful cities that I have conquered. When I thought that Babylon would be a great capital because I could live in the Hanging Gardens, which is one of the most beautiful places I've ever seen.
We have all heard the stories of how you defeated the Persian Empire. Can you tell me what was going through your mind as you started your conquest to take down the Persian Empire?
I only had one thing on my mind: to not lose any battles and save as much as my men as possible. I didn't care if I was going to die because my men needed to know I was out there with them.
You just mentioned that you didn't care that you died.
That is right.
I can recall one thing that must have been scary even to you if you didn't care that you were going to die. How did it feel when the Persian was about to deliver the final blow and somebody saved you?
I thanked him a lot, and we started fighting again.
At this final battle against Persia in Gaugamela, when you had a lot less troops than the Persians, what made you not turn around and run?
My men, as well as me, wanted to win this battle, and we knew we could if we fought our hardest. So we got ready and attacked them, and we ended up beating them there, and which made me the king of the Persian Empire, as well as all the other places I've conquered.
Thank you, Alex, for your time today.
It was a pleasure to be here and talk to you about all the things that have happened in my life.
Now back to you, Shamu.
Wow.
Good morning, Aristotle. We are glad to have you here.
Glad to be here. I would have come earlier, but I have been tied up at work.
It's okay. How's the academy going?
It is wonderful. I am back in Greece resuming my studies, as you know. I left briefly when my student Alexander died, but I learned so much from my teacher, Plato, over the past 30 years. I am also in the process of opening up my own school.
Congratulations.
Yes, it is wonderful.
Would you mind telling me a bit about your childhood?
Sure. I was born in 384 BC in Stagria, a small town in northern Greece. My mother, Festus, was born to a rich family and in a great house that was passed down to me. After joining the academy, I became a philosopher as well as a scientist. At the moment, I am trying to prove that the earth is round.
That is very interesting. What else do you do?
I wrote a book called Politics, where I pointed out the advantages and disadvantages of different types of government. I believe that the most stable kind of government is one that the actions of one part of the government was checked by another. And as I said, I am a scientist as well as a philosopher. I wrote about biology, physics, and botany.
Wow, you certainly are an overachiever.
Well, I believe that knowledge is key to everything you do. In my quest for knowledge, I have picked up the study of marine animals and have distinguished over 500 species. I also have made great achievements in astronomy, including the study that if the elements were in their pure state, they would be layered with rock, then water, then fire, then air. If you were to drop a rock, it would go down to its natural position. Flames would go up in its position. I also believe the heavens are made out of pure ether. I thought the world was a series of bowls in each other, with Earth at the center and stars on the outside.
So much knowledge in one head.
Well, I was taught by the best, even though I sometimes disagree with Plato's view of life. He has been a great teacher.
So, what did you and Plato disagree about?
Plato's study were mostly about exploring justice, equality, and beauty. He also focused on things you can't always see, where I am all about seeking knowledge of the world directly in front of us.
That is very cool. May I also say I am very sorry. I just recently heard that your wife Pythias passed away.
Yes, it's a shame, but I am now married to another woman named Hercules, and we are about to have a son.
Congratulations, but now back to your studies. We already know that you're a great philosopher, and you're studying marine animals, but what else do you do?
I am a scientist as well as a philosopher. I read about biology, physics, and botany. I also did share in the army as well. I argue that there were two states. One was the potential being and one was the actual being. It is like an acorn growing in an oak tree. The acorn goes from one state of being to another.
Wow, you truly are a genius.
Well, that is why I've earned the nickname Anagnostics, which means mind reader.
Nice. Before you told us that you were opening up a school, can you tell me some of the pros and cons?
Sure. It is a difficult since I left Athens for 7 years. I am not considered a citizen yet, so I can't own land. Because of this, I have to have a friend rent it for me. I already have students even though I don't have a school built quite yet. People call my students ducklings because I can't walk around and they follow me hanging on to my every word.
That is really amazing. I sincerely hope we see you again in the future.
As do I.
That is all the time we have today. Let's take it back to Master Sean Wu.
And the weather in Sparta is predicted to be... Oh wait. Yes. I guess we have another interview today. Max Dayton was walking around Greece and ran into a special guest. This will be coming down from the Hellenistic period. He'll be interviewing the mastermind scientist Archimedes. Down to you, Max.
Thank you, Master Sean Wu. I am here with the best Greek scientist, Archimedes. How did you make the lever and the pulley, and what inspired you to do it?
Well, I knew that there had to be something that could lift heavy things. I just had to figure it out. I really wanted to make moving large things easier for people. I knew that I could build a lever to make a flat surface and lift things up with more pressure. I also figured out that I could pull a rope to lift something and create a pulley.
Wow, that is incredible. We use the lever and the pulley so much today. This has changed us so much. Thank you for this amazing invention. What was your part in building the steam engine?
Well, that was not all because of me. Some other scientists came up with it, and I just added on to it and made it better. Thank you for... It's a cool project, and we had to use some other things to find out how to make it.
You're such an honest man. I love how you don't brag and give other people credit. Now, how do you feel about Eratosthenes estimating the size of the Earth? He was only 195 miles off the actual circumference.
Eratosthenes is a very smart man. Not only is he good at science, but he is very good at mathematics as well. The fact that he was only 195 miles off the actual size really blew my mind.
Me as well. Almost as good as a scientist as you. Thank you for your time, Archimedes.
No, thank you.
Back up to you, Sean.
What an amazing man, very modest and such a great guy to talk to. Archimedes invented a lever and pulley. Do you know how much the lever and pulley help us move things? He also helped invent and improve the steam engine that we now use a lot today, in the forms of the train in Boston and the subway in New York. In the Hellenistic period, the city of Alexandria was the center of Hellenistic learning. Alexandria was named after Alexander the Great. Now Will Broadbent will give us some information about Alexandria.
Thank you, Master Wu. I'm in the beautiful city of Alexandria. The buildings here are magnificent and the libraries are huge and amazing. There are also so many statues around. The statue of Laocoon is so cool. It is of two suns fighting with two sea serpents. There was also a statue of the god of love, Aphrodite. This place is completely beautiful. Now that it is all one huge kingdom.
This place has evolved a lot. The artwork is very unique, and the huge buildings and libraries are magnificent. When Alexander the Great died, the news reached Greece and it rebelled against the Macedonians. This began the Lamanian Wars. Greek had some internal success, but were defeated.
No, we don't. We can edit that out. Okay, keep going. Keep going from where you were. We can edit that out.
No.
She was laughing at
redo the whole thing.
She was laughing at me.
Redo the whole thing.
This began the Lamanian Wars. Greek had some internal success, but were defeated when the Macedonians were reinforced by troops returning from Asia. And now, Max Dayton will be interviewing the math and science whiz, Euthyrotus.
You were sure right about that, Sean. He is a genius. How did you estimate the size of the Earth so accurately?
Well, I used what I already knew to guesstimate the actual circumference. I used science that already people figured out, and I used a lot of math and calculations to make my estimate.
Why did you want to estimate the circumference of the Earth?
No other scientist or mathematician has ever thought about trying to find the circumference of the Earth. I thought it would be an interesting and a challenge. There were so many tough calculations and it took a very long time.
What motivated you to do the circumference of the Earth, and why did you not just do some other hypothesis?
Again, it was hard and I wanted to try something new. It was very fun but challenging work.
Thank you, Eratosthenes.
It was a pleasure.
Thank you, Max and Eratosthenes. These interviews are always very interesting. It is very cool to see how people made the great inventions that we use a lot today. That is all we have on the Hellenistic period for today. I hope you all have learned a lot. Now you see how wonderful the Hellenistic period is, and how awesome you experienced an interview with Alexander the Great, the wonderful Aristotle, and Archimedes.
Hey, Sean, what's up, man?
Max, what are you doing here?
I wanted to speak more about the Hellenistic period. Did you know that after Alex's death, his generals divided up his land, and those fragments of the Alexandrian Empire had become the three powerful dynasties the Seleucids of Syria and Persia, the Ptolemies of Egypt, and the Antigonids of Greece and Macedonia. They were also all ruled by kings. All they had wanted was as many riches as they could. They also put their wealth on display for all to see, building elaborate palaces and commissioning art, sculptures, and extravagant jewelry. They made huge donations to museums and zoos, and they sponsored libraries. At the same time, many people felt alienated in this new political and cultural landscape. Once citizens had been intimately involved with the workings of the democratic city-states, now they lived in personal empires governed by kings.
That is so interesting. Please tell our viewers more.
More!
Okay, the Hellenistic period ended due to the Battle of Actium. After the Battle of Actium, the entire Hellenic world became subject to Rome. Greece, in the next 2,000 years, was to undergo a series of conquests that made its people subject to the numerous powers and did not gain its self-determination until the 19th century.
Wow, that is how Greece ended, taken over by Rome.
Yep, I still can't believe that such a beautiful place was so easily taken over by Rome.
Well, Greece was very weak back then, so if you have a good army, you can possibly take over it.
True. Wow, look at the time. It is time for us to finish up. So thank you for watching 108.5 The Greek Hub. See you next week, and until then,
Bye!
buenos noches.